Let's begin. Today's October 23rd, 2024, and we're solving the Daily Turing Machine Puzzle. Today's puzzle uses the following 5 criteria cards. Criteria card 4, 10, 13, 18, and 20. And the puzzle uses the orange verification cards. The code above is your way to get more information on today's puzzle by searching the code on turingmachine.info. Let's go solve. In our grid above, we've got our 5 criteria cards. On the top row, we've got criteria card A, criteria card B, and criteria card C. On the bottom row, we've got criteria card D, and finally, criteria card E. So criteria card A takes a look at our middle digit, the square digit, and compares it to the number 4. So should square be less than 4? Should it be equal to 4? Or should square be greater than 4? Criteria card B takes a look at our 3-digit solution and will let us know how many of those digits are 4. Are there no 4s? Is there a single 4? Perhaps 2, maybe even all 3 are 4. Criteria card C takes a look at our middle and last digits, square and circle, and compares them. So should the value of square be less than circle? Should they be equal? Or should the value of square be greater than circle? Criteria card D will take a look at our 3 digits, triangle, square, and circle, add them together, and the Turing Machine will let us know if that sum total is an even quantity or an odd quantity. And finally, criteria card E again takes a look at our 3-digit solution, but this time it'll let us know a little bit about its structure. Specifically, there are 3 cases. The first one being that the solution has no repetitions, meaning that all the digits are unique, as in the example 125, or the Turing Machine could let us know that we have a double number, where there's a single digit repeated, as in the example 112, or alternatively, it could be a triple number, a single digit repeated 3 times, as in the example 222. And remember, the objective of today's puzzle is to find that unique 3-digit code that abides by the 5 criteria cards we just discussed. And we're going to start off with an initial proposal of 314. So I think the first thing I'd like to test is criteria card D. Okay, excuse me. The Turing Machine does approve of my proposal of 314. Notice that we are adding the 3 digits together. So let's go ahead and do that. So 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 4 is 8. That is an even quantity, and yes, the Turing Machine does approve of that. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes in section D. So we'll say that triangle plus square plus circle should be an even quantity. And I know it's pretty soon. We haven't really crossed out anything. We haven't tested anything else. But let's discuss the possibility of a 3-digit solution being even. Well, the first possibility is, of course, all 3 digits could be even. And so, yeah, even plus an even plus an even. That sum total remains even. The other case for that is that you might have a single even and the other 2 digits would have to be odd. And that's because when you add 2 odds together, that sum is even. And of course, you do have one more even to add up. And again, the sum total remains even. So we're still pretty much in the early stages, but it's a good idea to sometimes talk through what could be. Okay. And of course, we did mention even quite often. We do have that criteria card B that lets us know how many 4s there are. I guess maybe we can say that there might not be 4 4s, because if we knew there were 4 4s, then of course we'd know there'd be, a triple number, and it would basically make probably criteria card E irrelevant. And of course, if we had 4 4s, obviously we would know square is equal to circle, and again making that criteria card irrelevant. So I don't think we're going to have 3 4s, but we could have 2, right? 1 or even none. It just depends. All right, so the next thing I think I would like to test is I'd like to see what criteria card E reveals. So let's go ahead and test E. Okay, so the Turing Machine does not approve of my choice in 314. Well, 314 has all distinct digits. So of course it's not the case that it has no repetition, so that's now invalid. So our 2 possibilities are again a double number or a triple number. Now, even though the argument was number of 4s versus triple number, again, I don't think it could be a triple number for the same reason that we would know whatever that digit may be, we would know square is equal to circle, making this card irrelevant. So I'm going to state it as we're going to deduce that there's a double number. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes for section E. And again, I'm going to deduce the solution is a double number. Okay, so what that means is that we have a pair of digits. Now at this point, we don't know if that double are odds or evens. Now, if it were evens, well, that would be very helpful, because if we have a double or a pair of evens, we know it would be an all odd solution. So it'd either be, two 2s and a single 4 in some order versus 2 4s and a single 2 in some order. And that would be helpful. I don't know how likely that is, but at the same time, if it were to be 2 odds, well, we've got plenty of those. How could you decide between 1s, 3s, and 5s? I guess possibly, maybe square could be greater than 4, meaning it's a 5, and circle could be equal. So we have 2 5s, and then either a single 4 or no 4. That's plausible. However, if square were less than 4, well, then you'd have 1 and 3 to, contend with. And so if it is a 2 odds and an even, I could see it as, having 2 5s. And let's see, so what if they weren't equal? Would that still work? Yeah, I guess it could be that square is still 5, and circle may be less, meaning it's going to be an even, forcing triangle to be the other 5. So I could see it as being 5 5 and 2 or 4, or where square and circle are equal. So those are the 5s, and again 2 or 4 would be determined by criteria card B. That's possible if it's 2 odds. Now, unfortunately, my square value is a 1, so I don't know if criteria card A would be a good choice. And I'm wondering about testing criteria card B. I do have a single 4, but what if it's a case where it's either 0 or 2? What would that mean? If there were no 4s, we know we need at least 1 even. So if it fails, it doesn't like the single 4. It either means that there are 2 4s or no 4s, which would mean it's a 2. If we have 2 4s, and of course, my square and circle aren't equal. Let's see. Wow. A little bit of a dilemma in round 1. Well, I mean, the good thing about criteria card A is if it fails, then I know it's a 4 or 5. That's helpful. If it succeeds, well, then I cross out 4 or 5. So at least I'd be crossing out some numbers if I test criteria card A. Well, yeah, I think I'm going to test criteria card A. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, here goes. Okay, so it's not the case, I do have A square is 1. It's not the case that square is less than 4. So it's either square is equal to 4 or square is greater than 4. So let's go ahead and type that up in our notes in section A. And that again is that square is either equal to or greater than 4. Okay, so that means I can cross out the 1, the 2, and the 3. Okay, and we are dealing with a 4 or 5, but that really doesn't narrow down, either triangle or circle. Okay, well, that does it for this round. We did complete our 3 Turing tests. We're now going into the phase where we'll be discussing how to construct a good second round proposal. So again, we did not test criteria card B, identifying the number of 4s in our solution, nor did we compare square and circle. And I guess, criteria card A is still in the balance. We don't know if it's 4 or 5. Okay, so let's again talk about if it's an all even solution. I could see the possibility of it being 2, 4, 2 with a single 4 perhaps. Well, let's see. Yeah, because we don't know if square is a 4. We don't know. It could still be, 4, 4, 2 or 2, 4, 4. That's definitely still up in the air. Now, what if square were 5? Is that still viable? If square is 5, we do have a double. And then criteria card C could tell us, well, it's either equal or it's going to be less than. That's the one good thing about 5 is that, both 2 and 4 in circle are less than square. So what can we say about that? They could be equal. Could square be less than circle? No. 4 cannot be smaller than 5. Well, I guess maybe you still could. You could have 5, 4, 5. Yeah, that's still a viable possibility. Well, let's see. If we choose a proposal with 1, 4, would that help? Let's see. How can we construct a good proposal in case we need to sort of hedge our bets? And what would it mean if there are 2 4s? We know we can't have 3 4s. If there are no 4s, then we know it's got to be 2 odds and a 2. So let's see. If triangle were 2, I guess you could have 2 4 4 or 2 5 5. Yeah, it seems, a lot of stuff is still possible. Now again, notice that even though we do, criteria card D does mention triangle, it's not explicit per se. So it does seem that triangle is going to be forced into something. It could be an even or it could be an odd, but it's going to be forced into something. So if there's only one 4 and it's square, yeah, you know what? Let's see. Let's talk about that. If square is 4, how would you choose between 1 1, 2 2, and 3 3? In case square is greater than circle and it's 4, how would you choose between 1 1, 2 2, and 3 3? I don't think square being 4 and square being greater than circle, I think that just results in a lot of ambiguous solutions you cannot distinguish. So let's see, how does that help? Yeah, so I don't see how we could pick those. And of course it means it's a single 4, and again, square is greater. For 4. But does that eliminate 5 4 4? No, it doesn't eliminate, and that would be the only case that works for 4, I think. Because you can't have 2 4s and a 5, but I guess you could have 2 4s and a 2. So 4 4 2, 2 4 4. And you can't have 4 2 4. Okay, at least you can't have that. But even then, let's see. Well, I guess the only distinguishing feature, if it were to be less, is that you only have a single, let's see, if you have a single 4, how would you pick between 2s and 3s? Or 2s and 1s? You can't pick just because you have a single 4. Okay. And 5 4 5, that would seem almost too obvious in some sense. Okay, so then what about 5? If square is 5, it has to be paired up with either triangle. It's almost like the best alternative. It's a 5. Well, but if square is 5, then it's obvious. Well, no, it's not obvious what circle would be. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe something like, let's see, maybe like 2 5 5 or 4 5 5. Let's go. I I don't know if there's obvious solutions or obvious proposals. So I'm going to say 255 and see where that takes us. Well, let's see, 255. Yeah, because we don't know if square is going to be equal to or greater than circle. Yeah, let's go ahead with 255. Okay, well, let's go ahead and test criteria card C, comparing square and circle. Okay, it is not the case that they are equal. Okay, so let's write it up as square is either less than or greater than circle. Okay, so what does that mean? So obviously, yeah, it's very obvious that square can be greater than circle. Those are plentiful. But if square is to be less than, that would be 545. That would lead to 545. That's the only case where square is less than. Now, is that viable? It's hard to tell. And I'm wondering, should I test B and then A as a backup? Or if there are no 4s, it could be 252 or some kind of combination. Yeah, let's go ahead and test the number 4s, criteria card B. Okay, wow, very fortunate, I think, that it approves of the fact of the absence of 4. So yeah, there are no 4 digits in our solution. Okay, so let's go ahead and type that up in B, and we'll say that the solution has no 4 digits. Well, no 4 digit. Yeah, solution has no 4 digit. Okay, wow. Yeah, no, that really was very fortunate, because now we know what square is. Square is 5, right? There's no debating that. So we don't have to retest criteria card A. We've established that, yes, square is 5, which means that we need another 5. And since it's not equal, yes, yeah, that actually was so fortunate. I think I'm experiencing, there we go, a little bit of lag. Okay, yeah, no, that was like the best outcome possible, because now we know that square and circle are not equal, so that means that triangle was forced into that 5, as I sort of, thought would happen. So let me bring this all the way to 1, and then I'll cross out everything but the 5 in triangle. Okay. Oops. Okay, yep. Apologies for it taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. Yeah, so that means it's going to be 5, 5, and then 2 because there are no 4s. Yeah, so that was the best outcome. And I think it was just pure luck that, oops, sorry, I should not have crossed out the 2. Pure luck of how I constructed that proposal. So just fortunate. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so yeah, I believe the solution should be 552. So let's type it up. And let's talk about the square criteria card A. Let's actually say, yeah, it's not equal to 4 since there were none. So let's update our notes here. Okay, so yes, square has to be greater than 4. And I think, and of course, and I guess we could deduce that square has to be greater than circle. So let's go ahead and cross out this. Okay. All right, so let's review the criteria card versus the proposal of the solution. So is square greater than 4? Yeah, that middle digit 5 is greater than 4. There are no 4s, that's correct. Square is greater than circle, it is. The sum is even, yeah, 5 and 5 is 10 and 2 is 12. And we do have a double, it just happens to be the odd. Okay, well, let's go verify. That 552 is our solution. Five, 2. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, it worked out. And how did we do versus a Turing machine? Well, again, I believe we're quite fortunate. There were 5 criteria cards, and we ultimately just tested 5. So it really did work out. So in the first round, we did ADE. And in the second round, we tested the remaining 2, which were B and C. So let's go ahead and type that up. So A and E were both incorrect. So yeah, ADE. So A was incorrect, D was correct, E was incorrect, and I believe B was correct and C was not. Okay, wow, fantastic. We did beat it by 2 questions. Well, again, I think it was just fortunate how I got that second round proposal. There were so many possibilities, and just fortunate that when we tested criteria card B, it was correct that there should be no 4s. And so perhaps maybe good fortune in testing what we tested in the first round to set us up, and just fortunate that, yeah, there were no 4s, and that really just played out well. Well, how did you solve? What sort of order or what sort of criteria cards did you test? Did you notice anything interesting that you'd like to share? Add those thoughts to the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up so that more people can find our channel. And of course, hit subscribe to not miss out on any future videos. Well, until next time, have a great one.